Welcome, dear audience! Today's show is all about the great magician, mechanic, chef, occultist, and many more, Vill-V. Despite being a notable presence in the story, she is a pretty hard to understand character because of her multiple personalities and, well, because she likes to troll people. A lot of the things she tells in the beginning of the Elysian Realm are flat out lies, like how she can absorb other people's personalities. So I don't blame players for being confused. But if you pay attention to her story during chapter 30, it becomes a lot easier to figure her out. This show is all about helping you understand and learn more about our favorite con artist, Vill-V. Enjoy!
今始めようか
If the other flame chasers have a very easy to spot and clear motif behind their design, Vill-V is all over the place because they had to blend multiple personalities into her appearance. The most obvious motif are the steampunk elements. These are meant to represent the fact that she is a tinkerer, an inventor, and a mechanic. Vill-V is involved in the creation of the majority of the previous era mechanical and technological products. She created almost all of the divine keys, designed the Elysian Realm, had a collection of over 1,000 deadly weapons that can be used for mass destruction called Kevin Killers, and she even built the arc used in Project Arc. Another important motif is that of a magician. This is obvious with her hat, but even her jacket and shorts are inspired by traditional magician attire. This is meant to reflect the playful and laid-back personality of the magician persona. According to Vill-V, the expert and the magician are the personalities that are awake most of the time, so it's obvious that they are the most represented in the character's appearance. But there is one more important design element when it comes to Vill-V. Spiders. Yes, spiders. If you look closely at her clothes, you can see small spider webs on her chest, representing the Honkai beast she fused with. We don't know its name, or pretty much anything about it, besides the fact that it's a spider-like Honkai beast. And the symbolism doesn't stop there. A spider has 8 legs and a torso from which the legs come from. Now, how many personalities does Vill-V have? Exactly 8, plus the original from which all of the other personalities come from. Interestingly enough, when we meet the original Vill-V, we can see that her clothing is much simpler, reflecting the calmer nature of the original. Other aspects of her appearance that reflect her character are the 2 different color nuances of her hair, and her name being a pun on the fact that she has 8 personalities and she's ranked 5th among the flame chasers.
ただ一つの奇跡を作り出そう
Her powers allow Vill-V to partition her mind and create multiple personas of herself, each specialized in its own field. Vill-V has a total of 8 personalities. Well, more or less, but we'll talk about that later. She tells May that she stopped at 8 because if she would partition anymore, she wouldn't be able to maintain her status as a genius. This implies that partitioning takes a toll on her mind and would literally make her dumber if she were to abuse it. Oh, and speaking of her personalities, I'm sure that y'all are eager to learn more about them. So, let's start with the OG. The original Vill-V is a personification of a genius that lacks confidence and ambition. She claims that she hated herself from a very young age. She was aware of her potential as a genius, but she was afraid of it at the same time, thinking that her genius was not fit for the era she lived in. As such, she wanted to become someone else and soon realized that she could do so with ease. Due to her genius, she could learn any craft she wanted. She became a mechanic, a magician, a chef, a researcher, and thus the con artist Vill-V was born. She even pretended to be Mobius before joining the Moth to get access to some research materials. Also, it's important to note that Vill-V could not partition her mind before becoming a mantis. I see a lot of people confused on this matter. In every conversation she has before that, she's just pretending to be someone else, hence why they call her a con artist. Due to a misunderstanding, she once even declared war on the moth. Nonetheless, she was caught and detained, but due to Elysia's intervention, she was granted a chance to put her genius to use for the organization and later become a mantis. The first partition she created after her surgery was the conductor Vill-V. She's the most normal Vill-V because the original wasn't very good at partitioning back then, so she's not that different from the original self, besides the fact that she's way more confident in herself. After that, the original Vill-V went into slumber and left the conductor in charge of further partitioning and managing the personalities. It is later implied that each partition represents an aspect of the original. We see this in chapter 30, when the original Vill-V said that the evil Vill-V represents her confidence and ambition to change the world and realize her full potential. As I previously said, the personalities that take control of the body most of the time are the expert Vill-V and the magician Vill-V. The expert is very stoic and straightforward. She doesn't talk much and rarely lets her emotions be visible. She's responsible for the creation of most inventions that require mechanical skill. But that doesn't mean that the others don't participate. We've seen that the reason why her inventions are always so over the top is that because the other personalities often pop out and add their own flavors to the expert's inventions. On the other hand, the magician is the exact opposite, a very outgoing, loud, curious and mischievous personality. She likes to throw off magic performances in which she involves the others using strange tricks and inventions. She is a rather eccentric and hard to deal with personality. The other personalities that we see from time to time are Chef Vill-V, referred to in-game as Flavorful, and the occultist Vill-V, referred to as Vill-V that looks down upon the stars. Chef Vill-V is rather shy and reserved. She doesn't know how to interact with people very well and, as the name suggests, she's a great cook. The occultist is much more mysterious. She talks slowly and seems to be very observant and wise. It's like Vill-V saw Oponia one day and said, "I want that as a personality." She's literally Oponia. Besides these 5, Vill-V has 3 more personalities with rather strange circumstances. First is Kevin Killer MK5. It is not known why she named one of her personalities that way. As the name implies, the Kevin Killers are a series of inventions made by Vill-V with the intention of, well, killing Kevin. They are all strange inventions that don't respect any pattern and can vary in form, shape and size. Vill-V implies that there are thousands of them, and you may ask, why does she want to kill Kevin? Does she have a grudge against him? And the answer is
no.
Don't read too much into it, but Vill-V doesn't have anything personal against Kevin. She considers him a comrade in the same way she does with every flame chaser. For her, it's about what Kevin represents. She wants to kill Kevin because he is this invincible symbol that cannot die or lose. She knows that no matter what she does, she won't be able to kill Kevin, and that's the whole point of it. Regardless, let's go back to Kevin Killer MK5. Not much is known about this personality. She never made an appearance, and the only thing we know about her from the other Vill-Vs is that she's bad at interacting with people. Next, we have the Lecturer Vill-V. This personality is no longer around because she's dead. Lecturer Vill-V is the one that invented the card system we use in Elysium Everlasting. She was afflicted by Eponia's discipline, and the conductor was forced to kill her to get rid of it. Well, basically she describes it as throwing her deep into Vill-V's subconsciousness to the point where she can never come to the surface again. But she's later manifested in Elysium Everlasting as the Dakbot, similarly to how Ken manifested when Pardo became a sim. People who played the side mission know her story. Ultimately, May helps her complete her invention in the side quest, after which, this is Honkai Impact 3rd, so I'm sure you saw it coming.
She's dead! Gone forever! Died a horrible, painful death! Gone, 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 just like your dog!
Lastly, we have the Evil Vill-V.
自己紹介すればいいかな。久しぶり？それとも、はじめまして？
Do you know that I am also a magician? Really, I'm not kidding. While doing research for this video, I've studied some magic tricks myself. Watch me pull out something awesome from this hat. Huh? What's this? It's the subscribe button. Now that you've seen it, you have no choice but to subscribe and leave a like to the video. This is, in my opinion, the most confusing personality. As the original Vill-V said in chapter 30, she was not intended to be an evil personality at the beginning. Rather, she was an outlet in which Vill-V discarded her confidence and ambitions that she thought would change her into someone she doesn't want to become. She's also the largest partition in her brain, occupying half of Vill-V's brain. At some point, the conductor started to throw every malice and negative emotion Vill-V felt at her. This malice accumulated over 50,000 years and resulted in the Evil Vill-V that we see in today's story. She's a resentful person that wants to get revenge on everyone for all the millennia of suffering she has endured. To understand how Evil Vill-V and the Herrscher of Corruption got in cahoots, we need to go back in time, right when May came back into the Elysian Realm after she helped Kiana in Colostan. Every flame chaser that May meets in chapter 3 had a very good reason for appearing that late. Pardo was busy restocking and just laying low. Grisio and Cosma never left the Dream of the Depictor until May met them, and Eponia was secluded in the Deep End. Then, what about Vill-V? Well, Vill-V thought that May was boring. No, really. This is the real reason, I'm not lying here. You see, initially, Vill-V had no interest in May because she thought that a Herrscher that fought for humanity was not that interesting. She showed up in front of May during chapter 3 only because she noticed that May brought something into the Elysian Realm and was curious about it. Unfortunately, her curiosity ended up being her demise. During chapter 3 of the Elysian Realm, to get to the Deep End, May asked Vill-V for help since she was the one that designed the Deep End, and May assumed that she had a backdoor that could let her reach that place. To get through the backdoor, May literally had to go through Vill-V's mind. In exchange for exposing her weaknesses to May, Vill-V asked for May to do the same. At that time, we just assumed that all she wanted was to learn more about May, but it's implied that Vill-V helped her out only to make contact with the Herrscher of Corruption, who was still attached to May at that point. After that, Vill-V got, well, corrupted. To save herself, the conductor decided to throw all of the corruption to the Evil Vill-V in order to sacrifice her in a similar manner to how the lecturer Vill-V was sacrificed to get rid of Eponia's discipline. After witnessing how Kalpas unleashed his powers, the Herrscher of Corruption developed a strong survival instinct. It wanted to survive no matter what. And to do that, she had to get rid of all potential threats. And one of the biggest threats for her was May. Since she was not a simulation, the Herrscher of Corruption couldn't corrupt her in the realm. In exchange for not corrupting her, the Evil Vill-V offers to kill May by trapping her in her mind and partitioning that part off, imprisoning her forever. The Herrscher of Corruption agreed, and then the Evil Vill-V killed the other personalities. What neither the Herrscher of Corruption nor the Evil Vill-V realized was that the conductor anticipated that the Herrscher of Corruption and Evil Vill-V will work together. She wanted to wake up the original Vill-V by getting herself and the other personalities killed by the Evil Vill-V. She knew that the original Vill-V had the power to bring them back anyway, oppose the Evil Vill-V, and she could even come up with a plan against the Herrscher of Corruption. She was set to wake up if more than half of her personalities died. Without the Evil Vill-V knowing, the original Vill-V acted from shadows and saved May. The Vill-V we interacted with in Elysium Everlasting was always the Evil Vill-V. Since all the other personalities were already killed, she imitated the magician with great ease to fool May and the other flame chasers. She was the one that deleted the data of Kevin, Mobius and Pardo, while the rest were busy investigating what happened to Elysia. She did this because, after Elysia, Kevin was the biggest threat for the Herrscher of Corruption among all the flame chasers, and Mobius was just way too smart and would have realized what was happening sooner or later. Pardo was just an accident though, but besides that, her other reason for deleting them was so that the Herrscher of Corruption could not corrupt them and get their data, even if the Evil Vill-V was kind of a she didn't like the Herrscher of Corruption that much. Eventually, it is heavily implied that she wanted to take out the Herrscher as well. Since every invention that Vill-V makes has a backdoor, the data of all the flame chasers deleted by her could be recovered, unlike the ones that were deleted by the Herrscher of Corruption, like Kalpas, that were lost forever. In the end, Elysia brings all of them back, but that's a topic for another video. It is also funny to point out that both Kevin and Mobius figured out that something was wrong with Vill-V, but let her delete them anyway. Mobius had her own plans, and Kevin chose to trust her companion until the end. The original Vill-V used this chance and planned accordingly because she knew that the data of these three could be brought back and take the Herrscher of Corruption by surprise. In the end, the villain Vill-V is defeated. To give May a chance to overpower her, the original Vill-V repartitions her mind again and again to bring back her other personalities that were killed by the evil Vill-V. She does this until the powers of the evil Vill-V fade to the point where she can barely sustain her existence. But by doing so, the original Vill-V regresses to the status of an appendice like the other personalities and becomes Helix Vill-V. It's a bit complicated to understand, but don't try to think too much about it. Just imagine that Vill-V loses a small part of herself every time she partitions her mind. Well, the original Vill-V abuses this power until she basically partitions the evil Vill-V out of existence. And because the evil Vill-V was in charge and occupied the largest part of her brain, she dies as well because she cannot sustain her data alone anymore. Before she vanishes, she gives May her crystal flower and tells her to go and defeat the Herrscher of Corruption. She already left some clues and tells May that she plays a crucial role in her plan. In the end, everything that happened in chapter 31 was enabled because of Vill-V. She gives Sue hints as to where to find Sakura and Kevin and how to bring back Elysia through May's memories. In her pursuit of getting rid of Kevin, Vill-V created a device that could delete the entire Elysian Realm called Kevin Killer 666. She never used it because that would also delete her data at the same time, and instead gave Elysia the right to decide when to use it. Since she was the one that started everything, Vill-V wanted to let her also be the one that ends everything.
私たちが作れなかった未来を
Vill-V is one of the most complex and interesting flame chasers. Despite being a blend of multiple personalities, Vill-V's chaotic and all over the place nature works very well. She's both the villain and the hero of the story, without contradicting herself or the setting of the plot. She's both a force that directly moves the plot forward, but also a planner that manipulates things from the shadows. She can be an eccentric genius who shines brighter than anybody on stage, but also an insecure human being that, despite her talents, has a lot of frustrations and regrets like any of us. Through her personality, she manages to play every role and be present in every aspect of the story, despite being just one character. People may not realize it, but this is very hard to pull off. It's clear that hoyoverse put a lot of love, care and attention for details when crafting her character. Until the very last moment, Vill-V was a show woman that pulled the strings and entertained everybody on the stage called the Elysian Realm. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our great magician.